Shalom. Hello again. On today's program, Peter discovers Jesus is not only the Messiah, but the Son of God. Coming up next on Our Jewish Roots with Bible teaching by Dr. Jeffrey Seif.
Sunrise on the Galilee. Simon Peter prepares his nets for a day at sea. Much like the sea, Peter is unpredictable, calm and steady, and then, in an instant, tempestuous. As we reflect upon the Lord's most intriguing disciple, we can see ourselves, because we too have been broken and then restored. We too, in so many ways, are much like Peter.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm David Hart.
I'm Kirsten Hart.
I'm Jeffrey Seif.
So we're halfway through this series on Peter. You've seen miracles happen already in this series, but I believe, Dr. Seif, there's much more to come in the miracle business, yes?
Well, there's a lot of miracles, and it's underscored in this program where Peter's involved in an experience with the Lord. A lot of times church folk, there's a message, there's a lesson, but this is an encounter that really is fantastic.
It is. It's interesting how Yeshua, his Hebrew name, we call him Jesus in English, how he picked just certain people, just a few, to come up and experience this, what we call, it's a big name, transfiguration of the Messiah. And Peter was one of them.
Yeah. I think people need that, by the way. If you're going to, be a leader in things of the Lord, one needs to have some kind of encounter where it's raw, where it's experiential. Now, a lot of folk have problems with experiential religion, where, church is just all about, here's the lesson, here's what it says in the Hebrew and the Greek. Now, all that, I'll throw that stuff around too, and I'm not disparaging penetrating into the biblical text. But if you look at these disciples of Jesus, there's signs and wonders, there's experience, and I don't like a Christian telling of the story that just works all that out, removes it from the story, because it's so much part of the journey, and Peter discovered that in today's episode.
And it's written down, so they experienced it and they wrote it down what they saw, so it's true.
Yes,
You believe it.
It really is. They wanted posterity to know it. It wasn't just for Peter to experience it, but for students of the Jesus movement to understand that experience happened.
Can't wait. Thank you. So much more that we'll jump in and dig into, and thank you.
Yes. We continue the story of Peter in Israel. Let's go there right now.
זה לא יאמן, זה פשוט לא יאמן. זה לא יאמן, אני חוויתי את החוויה הכי יוצאת דופן שהייתה לי בחיי. רגע, אל תפריע לי, אני רוצה להיזכר בזה כל עוד זה טרי. כל היום אנחנו טיפסנו על ההר. ישוע רצה לקחת אותנו לפסגה, את ג'יימס, את ג'ון ואותי. הוא התפלל. ישוע התפלל ואז הוא השתנה. הפנים שלו השתנו. כמו השמש. מסנוורים. והבגדים שלו השתנו כמו מכת ברק. זה היה לבן, מסנוור. ואז משה ואליהו הנביא הופיעו. משה ואליהו הנביא, הם דיברו עם ישוע. אני הייתי מבולבל, אני הצעתי להם שאני אבנה להם מחסה. ואז... לא, אני לא יכול להגיד יותר כלום. לא עכשיו.
Life with the Lord is often interesting, but there are moments that are absolutely spectacular. I mention that because we're going to look at a moment here where some of Yeshua's Talmidim, some of Jesus' disciples, had a spectacular, awesome moment, and I want to explore it with you. Various gospel writers hark to the story. I'm interested in the Matthean telling. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 17, we're told in verse 1 that Kepha, Peter, Yaakov, or James, and Yochanan, John, his brother, they come to a high mountain. And I'm coming to you in a mountainous area in Israel. Behind me may have well been the spot. We're told that there in verse 2, Yeshua was transfigured before them. Trans is a Latin prefix for cross. He took another figure, another form, a flash of light, we're told. And there's an expression here that struck me as odd. We're told he became as white as light. Now that's interesting. I think of a camera bulb flashing, that split second. I mean, I don't know to what extent people experienced that in antiquity. The point here is this is something really special. Jesus takes those in his inner circle with him up to the mountain. Now, the Lord does special things in mountains. You know, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses took him up on a mountain. This wasn't Har Sinai, not Mount Sinai, but there in a moment after the flash, we're told, all of a sudden, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, and Eliyahu, Elijah, appear. Now, both those figures are significant in Older Testament literature. Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, was the lawgiver. He was the prophet who put down the constitution for the new economy for the Israelites. Eliyahu, Elijah was a prophet, but he was a non-writing prophet. But there was a lot of spectacular associated with his ministry. Well, Moses too, I don't want to compare one against the other. A variety of miracles are noted with both. And here in a flash, these figures appear. It really is interesting. And we're told in the literature that there they are conversating with Yeshua. It's fascinating. Kepha, Peter, as we read on in Peter form, well, Lord, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to, maybe build some tabernacles for these guys, a sukkot, a booth, something to that effect? It's a glorious moment. And the statement to build the booths might hark back to, if you look at the end of the book of Shemot, if you look at the very end of Exodus, we're told there that when the Shekhinah, when the cloud, when the tabernacle was finished, the cloud was there, the glory of the Lord was there. Indeed, it's a spectacular moment, and Peter is kind of thrown on his heels, and he wants to do something. By the way, that's the thing that I like about Peter. He is impulsive. He wants to do things, and I like that. And as inconsistent as he can be on occasion, and as unnecessary as the building of the tabernacle was there and then, the point is he's looking to use his energies to contribute to what Yeshua is all about. In much the same way as whether we're a musician, we offer our talents to bring the Lord into the room a little more gloriously. Whether we use our money when we tithe, when we share, when we care in order to build up some sacred space. Different people do different things to try and advance the kingdom, and that's meritorious. In this case, it was unnecessary. The principal point here is less about what Peter wants to do, though I did alight upon the fact that he wanted to do something. But principle here, to my way of thinking, is that Yeshua is seen there conversating with these two prophets. You might recall in the Johannine Gospel, in the Gospel of John, Yeshua had said, if you listen to Moses, you listen to me, for Moses spoke of me. Not just Moses alone, but he was so much the principle in Jewish thought. Moshe Rabbeinu was there conversating with Jesus, and similarly Eliyahu, Elijah, is himself giving voice, giving credence in the person of Yohanan, John the Baptist, who is noted previous to this as the one prepare the way of the Lord. In Jewish culture, it was understood that Eliyahu, that Elijah would come before the coming of the Lord. Here, Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses the prophet, and Elijah are there. And what are they doing? They're conversating with Jesus. It's this connecting the Jesus story to the Older Testament principles that is of principal importance today.
Our resources this week: Glory, the Future of the Believers. In this booklet, Zola Levitt explains the coming rapture of our time in heaven, the kingdom on earth, and eternity. When you contact us, ask for our free monthly newsletter, the Levitt Letter, which is full of insightful articles and news commentary. Call 1-800-WONDERS or visit us at levitt.com.
For the Lord thy God bringeth thee into a good land, a land of fig trees and pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey. Arise, walk through the land, for all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. Worship in the shadows of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Behold the land of the covenant.
I love it when I hear people say, we just went back in time and watched some former programs that you all have produced. So you can do that if you click on levitt.com and see past programs. They're all available right there on our social media. Also, our newsletter, which is free. It's a free publication that, Kirsten, you write every month.
I do.
Yes.
I do. I write an article in there. I also help edit it. There's a personal letter. You can go, like you just said, go back in time. You can go back in time and watch our programs. You can read through past letters. If you're just saying you have a letter that you send out free and you want to sign up now, get online. It's easy to read, easy to find, and you will catch up on what's happening in Israel. And speaking of what's happening in Israel, I hope you are enjoying the gorgeous footage of this program, Dr. Seif, that shot on Mount Arbel with both cliffs behind him and the wildflowers. Outstanding. What you don't see is behind the scenes. We have Israeli producers. We have camera operators, we have equipment, and I just learned this last time that we went to Israel and actually just shot this series, is that we have to pay money for this thing called a permit to actually be able to film. So there's a lot of expense to bring you the gorgeous footage and the teaching of Dr. Seif. You make all of this possible when you donate to our program. So thank you now, and thank you in advance for the gifts you give us.
I've got to go back just a little bit about what you were talking about, the flowers blooming where we were. You also were not able to smell how beautiful. It felt like we were in heaven when we were there filming. So we just want to say thank you so much. Right now, let's journey back in time as Peter continues to recall the Lord's magnificent transfiguration high atop the mount.
ואז, כאילו שהאור המסנוור מקצה ההר לא הספיק, קרה אפילו עוד משהו. רגע, אנדרו, אל תפריע לי. אני לא יודע איך להסביר את זה, אבל אפילו אני יכולתי. אני לא יודע איך להסביר את כל הרעם שיצא מהענן, אבל את הקול המתוק של אלוהים. זהו בני יחידי אהובי. אליו תשמעון. אנדרו, אני יודע שכל זה נשמע לך לא אמין כרגע, אבל זה קרה. אנדרו, זה קרה. נוכל להמשיך לדבר על כך מחר בבוקר. אני לא יכול להגיד עוד שום דבר. עד היום שבו ישוע יקום מן המתים.
There's an old Jewish prayer that says, Lord, don't listen to the prayers of pilgrims. I mention that because pilgrims want dry weather so they can make their way around. But Israel was an agrarian culture. They want rain. I mention that because it's misty and it's rainy here. And we know when rain comes, good things come. Good fruits come as a result of it. We're looking at a snapshot here. We're looking at a moment in the disciples' experience with Yeshua where something very significant happened. We see Yeshua appearing in a flash of heavenly light. We see Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, and Eliyahu there with him. There's a kind of congruence here between the Testament stories. There's a credence here, that is, that Yeshua is the one of whom they spoke. There's a kind of connectivity here. They're pointing to him, and here they are conversing with him. Subsequent to which, we're told in the literature, and it really is something, that a bright cloud overshadowed them. We're told that there was a bright cloud, and out of the cloud comes a voice saying, "This is my Son, whom I love. I am well pleased. Listen to him." It's a fascinating story. Those that were there in the hearing were these disciples. Again, not only do you have tacitly, with the presence of Moses and Elijah giving credence to Jesus, then you have a voice from heaven as well. "This is my Son, whom I love, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him." You have heaven's certification associated with a person and the voice of Yeshua. It's interesting, by the way, because Peter, his original name, Simon, means to listen. And would that we all listened well and listened to him. I mention that in the Gospels over and again, Yeshua will speak and say, "He who has ears, let him hear." Similarly, in the Older Testament, with Moshe Rabbeinu, with Moses, you have the famous Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel. It's important to hear some kind of divine intentionality to give credence to his voice. And with that said, let me say that would begin now with our paying attention to the Newer Testament, wherein Yeshua's voice is noted. Thus you have the Synoptic Gospels. I'm reading from one now. You have the Johannine Gospel, the Gospel of John. Therein the things that Jesus said and did are noted. And would that we do well to pay attention. Speaking of which, in 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 18, therein Peter harks back to this moment that we have heard the voice and we do well to pay attention. It's fascinating, it seems to me. Well, it's interesting, I should say, that if you look at Peter, as prominent as he was, he doesn't say much. If you look at the Petrine literature, there are two texts associated with him, 1 and 2 Peter, and therein he harks back to this memorable experience. Would that you remember it as well. That is to say, the importance to listening to his voice. If you're at a place in your life where you're a little confused and you need to get your compass fixed to find that North Star, to find that direction, open up your Bible, go to the gospel literature, and read what the Lord says and see what He might say to you through it as you hear that still small voice.
Throughout this whole series, I've got to give a shout out to our cameramen and our production team. That shot of Dr. Saifa on Mount Arbel, I think, was one of the most visually beautiful I've ever seen. But the retelling of the story of this transfiguration, that's a big word, was even better. Thank you for bringing your insight.
Well, you're kind. Talk about shout out, God gave a shout out to His Son on that mountain, didn't He? This is the guy. Listen to Him. Would that we heeded that.
And it's good. Here's Peter. We're talking about Peter this whole series. And God said, listen to him. So like Peter had this proof, like we're here walking by faith in our lives, in our trust of who God is. And here's Peter. I mean, he saw it. He heard it. He heard it. He knew that he knew that he knew.
Yes. So hear it. You, me, you. This is my son. Listen to him. I don't know what your life is. I don't know what problems you have. But I do know if you listen to him, you're going to find something that you didn't know existed. You're going to find grace, love, reset button, direction in life. Place a premium on listening to him.
Wow.
That's kind of
You
pushy
just spoke
there.
to me.
That's a little pushy, but
No, not pushy, but true. That you're speaking truth.
I wanted
right
to give
now.
a little force to it because there's a little force coming from the mountain. This is my son. Listen to him. Now, God doesn't always speak to us from the clouds thundering. We hear that still small voice.
We do.
We all have testimonies of where we came from, where we're at now. My story of being in Hollywood, trying to make it for a couple years of my life, and knew what was right, but I literally heard God's voice every day for a couple years when I was trying just about anything I could to make it in Hollywood. Thought that was my next step in life. God saying, no, Dave, you know that you need to be living for me, serving me. And when I finally listened to that small voice, met my wife, my children, were with you, God has blessed me because I listened and obeyed that small voice.
Isn't that something?
Yep.
Listen to him.
Yep.
So simple, so profound, so true. And to your point, history comes replete with many examples of turnaround lives. People who, instead of doing it their own way, decided to turn and do it his way. And life was glorious subsequent to that.
And that Peter and the disciples was these three guys that Yeshua and Messiah handpicked, got to see him in his glory.
Yeah.
And not to too much humanize Messiah, but he must have thought, oh, this is kind of neat. I get to show you really, here's who I am. And let me bring along these two other guys.
Yeah,
my gosh.
He probably thought he was special. Wow, what an honor, what a privilege to be here for this moment. And Peter was awed and awed, not odd, he was ODD, but he was awestruck by the moment, to be sure.
Yeah,
Felt
and
privileged.
Moses and Elijah.
Yeah.
So the law and the prophets right there represented.
More
Good
miracles to
stuff.
come in this series, yes?
Yes. And talk about miracles, transforms lives. I hope you get the transformation. Hey, thanks for going with us on the journey as you go now. Until next week, Shalom, Shalom, Yerushalayim.
Pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Follow me to Galilee. Follow me home.
Come with me to Galilee. Come with me home. If you see Galilee, you will see your home. Yeshua loves Galilee, her flowers, her trees. A part of his heart must be beside the Sea of Galilee. From heaven my Lord looks down, his kingdom to see. And what in the world could be as lovely as the Galilee? Where are you wandering? Why do you roam? Follow me to Galilee. Follow me, come home. Follow me to Galilee. Follow me, come home.
Join us right now for additional content that is only available on our social media sites, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Visit our website, levitt.com, for the current and past programs, the television schedule, tour information, and our free monthly newsletter, which is full of insightful articles and news commentary. View it online, or we can ship it directly to your mailbox every month. Also on our website is the online store. There, you can order this week's resource, or you can always give us a call at 1-800-WONDERS. Your donations to Our Jewish Roots help us to support these organizations as they bless Israel. Please remember we depend on tax-deductible donations from viewers like you.
This has been a paid program brought to you by Zola Levitt Ministries.